Ec39c, Freedom and Free Will. Soul to Soul Talk, Freedom and Free Will, Part C. Life Guiding Conversations with Morai, Amoro and Jenai Summer. Hey Jenai, let's finish our conversations on the subject freedom and free will, although there is always more to talk about any subject. I'm all ears, Morai, but before you start, I wanted to talk about my free will. I am aware that it is limited and conditioned, as you explained. To be aware of this is already a freedom by itself, as you have freed yourself from an illusion, and with your will have accepted all these facts. You have reflected and starting to adapt, to search for the unfamiliar, and are ready to take action in most areas of life in which we have disempowered ourselves. Today, I would like to go another layer deeper into the matter. Go ahead, Morai, and thank you for having confirmed my way of thinking on all we have been talking about regarding the subject. I would like to talk about God's will versus our will. In regards many areas, we have been talking about freedom and free will, and often link or connect these things to democracy. God, or Kandu, as we know him, Jenai, in our world of mystical fiction, or any name given to that something which is from beyond the world of form and name, is not a democracy. I don't get this, Morai. What do you mean with that? Let us look from our very little way of understanding what his will is. To really understand his will, we must be at his level, which we are not. But we can see his will in Crystallia, the creation, being the indisputable universal laws of universe and nature. This is how creation is set up by him. In every scripture, these laws are being talked about, but interpreted in our limited way and with our limited and conditioned mind. In general, mankind is not even interested to study the mind or study these indisputable laws in detail, or, as I said before, interprets them in his or her own convenient way. Because of this, we go with our such-called will against his will. We think we can think, say and do as we please, and see the suffering we cause to ourselves, others and the planet. Here, just to mention a few laws we go against to make it more clear again. We don't accept that everything is created with an opposite, have difficulties accepting one side or chasing the other, and judging basically his creation, his will, his law. By not going with the ever-going changes in a natural way, going against change, holding on to things, trying to control things and people, seeking security or manipulating changes in nature, we don't accept his creation and basically judge his creation, his will, his law. Just as we do not obey man-made laws, which sometimes we can get away with not obeying them, we cannot get away by not obeying his will, his law. By means of living this way, it is our will versus his will, and see in which state mankind is and the planet. All this is the result of our actions done with our such-called free will and seeking freedom. Our will is connected to us as physical beings, the world of body, mind and matter, or identification and attachment to the world of me and mine. Here we find ourselves separated from him and his will, which we cannot even know with our intellect, and we even don't live according to his will following the universal and nature's laws. So, Morai, with your help and studying some scriptures and observing nature, can you help me to understand these indisputable laws better? Absolutely. And not forgetting studying the mind more, the world of Kalimabanku, the governor of Crystalia, the creation. Last but not least, you have to find a way to get to know his will. Let us first look in which ways we have separated ourselves from him, how we have lost living with the universal laws and away from living with nature's laws, and even how we are separating ourselves from ourselves. I think we have already spoken about this separation process, but it will be great to hear it again, Morai. When we as souls, spirit, eternal children of light and love, left the ocean of love, our home with Kandu the Creator, we took on a mind to operate with in the creation. After taking appropriate bodies to explore the creation, we started to identify with the body, the mind, and the creation. And the mind, which was a helpful instrument, became our master. Operating through the sense organs and negative passions, we lost our direct contact with our true self, the soul, and Kandu. Using the mind only for worldly things, we lost the knowledge how the mind and the universal laws work. We lost ourselves within the realm of body, mind, and matter, and parallel, after living in and with nature, we basically separate ourselves from nature, going into the world of villages and cities, and lost the knowledge about nature's laws as well. Leaving the tribe and the great support of that tribe, we separated ourselves further, and living now in a family unit in a home or an apartment. The separation didn't stop there, as we separated ourselves further by creating different nations, customs, and beliefs, and making differences between how people look and ending up, each having their own room in a house or apartment, and basically separating ourselves from the family. Inside that room, we create our own individual world with everything around us to distract us, not even wanting to be by ourselves, and with the modern communication devices, separating ourselves from ourselves even more. Maybe with that little and limited free will we still have, can we reverse the process? So Morai, with your help and reading and studying, I might find out more about how this world of body, mind and matter is built, how the mind functions and how it is all regulated. In addition, I have to watch out for becoming attached and dependent on my digital devices, but sit more alone by myself in my room in silent prayer and meditation, and ask your help with this as well, Morai. I need to stay aware to not close myself off from my family members and participate more in all that what has to do with the home and family. I could go back more into nature and do gardening and start seeing everybody and everything as being members of my family, and to not discriminate and judge anything nor anybody. I need to become a good human being and have to realize that everything I think, say and do has not only a reaction towards me, but the entire world at large. Then last but not least, as you have explained, I would like to go the adventure to find out about his will. Well understood, Jenai, and well put. The mind and intellect, which is part of the material physical world, cannot know his will or contact spirit, God, Kandu, or any name given to that which is beyond form and name, but which we give a name in order to refer to it or him. Know that he is contacting us, reminding us about him and our true and everlasting essence, being souls, spirits, eternal children of light and love. Once we are contacted and reminded by him, we can go on our real adventure or quest to find the guide and path. Once we find that guide or path, which actually is the guide and path finding us, we must put in all the practice into this guidance. Without having any expectation, which is connected to our will, we must put in the effort that mostly boils down to inner and silent prayer and meditation, and wait until we are united again. It's His creation, His play, His laws, and He will know when we are ready. We, with our will, must get out of the way, and that may take some time, as we have created so many layers, conditionings, limitations, and coverings. But it is said, there where there is a will, there is a way, and He will burn these layers then away. Now you confuse me again, Morai, by saying that where there is a will, but which will are you referring to? I'm referring to that little bit of free will we have, as the will to accept, reflect, and adapt, of which we spoke about, related to freedom and free will. That little bit of free will we can use to take things back in our own hands and power. That little bit of free will we have to change things that we can change, but doing this without any expectation. That little bit of free will can be used to try to stay awake and aware. That little bit of free will we can use to study the mind and the laws and to follow them as good as possible. That little bit of free will we can use to make time for our new adventure and quest, and to follow the guide and guidance, and hopefully make time and put effort in to sit for silent inner prayer and meditation, and to one day unite with Him and discover real freedom, which can only be found when we are above the realm of body, mind, and matter. This sounds like a fairy tale, Morai. It is, but a real one. And one of these days we will talk about fairy tales, and that many of them are mystical stories, explaining the real love story and marriage, the reuniting of the soul with the Creator, and to live happily ever after. That will be great as well and interesting, Morai, and I'm looking forward to that talk. Before we end our conversation in regards freedom and free will, I would like to mention one more thing, Jenai. Is that okay with you? Yes, Morai, go ahead. The intended magical and mystical adventure, exploring Crystallia the creation, was for Kandu, the Creator, to experience this through us, through His will. Us as individual souls, spirits, children of Kandu, eternal children of light and love, started, however, to identify with the world of body, mind, and matter, and it became all about me and mine and my will or our will. So, before we find Him, before we reunite with Him, and to know His will, let's imagine to live this worldly adventure for Him. Oftentimes when we do something for someone else, we do it even better than doing it for ourselves, and by doing so, getting ourselves a little bit out of the way. That's a great idea, Morai, and I will do my best with my little, limited, and conditioned free will.